Hey guys, what's up, Zyflin here. Today we're going to be talking about how to run bounties efficiently in the plains of Eidolon. So basically going to be showing you guys like the loadout that I use and then how I go about like using my loadout kind of thing. So I'm going to like give you guys a few options with the weapons and stuff to kind of tailor this towards like the mid-game player, if that makes any sense. Because I would recommend maybe getting into like playing in the planes at like master rank 5 or 6, if that makes any sense, if you're a newer player, that is. And yeah, just watch the video. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the things that we have. So this is my loadout, but keep in mind I've been playing this game for 4 years, right? This is my Tigris Prime, my Vacor Merlock, and then my Adarax, which I have renamed to the Hashling Slasher because chat told me to do it for a meme, and you know, chat's crazy. So we went ahead and did it. But this is the loadout I use. So the Tigris is a double-barreled shotgun, and it has a lot of status chance. And status chance on shotguns works very weird in this game because like whenever you get 100% status chance in your shotgun, basically every single pellet that you shoot from the shotgun has like 100% chance to proc like a status effect, right? And because we can get slash to like our most like dominant damage type on this weapon, you're proccing a lot of slash procs, you're also proccing a decent amount of corrosive procs, so you're stripping armor, you're making enemies bleed, and they're just dying all over the place, as implying you hit your shots with this, right? So the Tigris Prime is an insane weapon in itself, and this is the build that you want to be running on it if you have the Tigris Prime, of course, and you have the mods. What I would substitute things like like let's say for example sweeping duration. If you don't have it, you could throw another like elemental damage mod on top of here, like contagious spread or something, to make it so that you're more likely to proc corrosive over blast damage or something like that there. So we have sweeping duration on, obviously, because we want to bump that slash damage up to that 15k to make it our most dominant damage type. But you know, just more damages in general is good. So yeah, you only really ever run these mods whenever you have like 90% of the weapon's total damage is in that said like damage type. So I wouldn't recommend running this on like any other weapon. It's not that these mods are necessarily good, it's just that for specific weapons they can serve a purpose. Okay, so that's why I'm using Sweep Insurrection in this build. Moving on though, let's say you don't have the Tigris Prime. Let's say you're a newer player, you want to use the Heck. Now, the Heck is the weapon that I tell a lot of players to use whenever they're first picking up Warframe, because one, it's easy to obtain, and two, it's actually really good, and three, it also like shows them how to like manage their syndicates and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and swap out the build that I have here because it is kind of doo-doo at the minute. We're going to go ahead and throw on in Sentry Coat. And this is the build that you want to be running. So I'm just going to go ahead back out and go back in again to remove all the red stats. But basically what this is, you have your point blank, which will up your damage. You have your Hell's Chamber for your multi-shot. Shell Shotgun here to up the damage off your what's it called. However, we can replace this with Blaze now because we're not running like magnetic build. So go ahead and throw on Blaze, and that'll up our damage even more. So just going to back out and go back in again. So we have these three mods, which are going to increase our damage. This also gives us fire damage, but because of where we have it placed, it's not going to conflict with our elemental combos, because remember, the modding section has like a kind of like a pattern to it, right? Where like I forget the word at the minute, but it kind of has like I forget the name, but basically, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It has an order. That was the word that I was looking for. So, you know, it has an order to it. So it's 1 up here and then 8 down in the bottom right here. So as long as like Charged Shell is in slot 1 and then Contagious Spread is in slot 2, it won't conflict with your elemental combo, okay? So you have your Charged Shell, Contagious Spread. This gives us your corrosive damage, and then you can throw on Incendiary Coat on top of that, as well as Blaze, and this will give you obviously more damage, more fire damage, stuff like that. Your corrosive damage is still your dominant element because it has obviously 2 mods to give it that 90% for both mods, and then you have a bigger number in general. Plus you have Toxic Bards and stuff like that, which will also increase the damage of corrosive because it's toxin damage. You can replace this out for something like the electric dual stat mod on your shotguns as well. But other than that, it's called Shell Shock. Other than that, we have on Scattered Justice here, and this is a weapon augment that you get from the Steel Meridian Syndicate, which you should be joining as a newer player. Now, you could maybe make an argument for the Vacor Heck as well. But for newer players, I don't recommend using the Vacor Heck in the Plains of Eidolon unless you have somehow acquired a max rank Prime Ravage. Because if you don't have this max rank Prime Ravage, the regular Heck with the build that I just showed you is going to do more DPS than the Vacor Heck. Not that it really matters, because both the weapons are really good anyway. But just if you're looking for optimal DPS, it goes Tigris Prime, and then if you have Prime Ravage, it'll go Vacor Heck, and then if you have, if you don't have Prime Ravage, it'll be Heck, that type of thing. So you want to go with either of those shotguns. I know it seems kind of counterproductive running the shotgun in the plains, but these weapons get things done, right? And that's what you're here to do. You're here to get things done, okay? So I'm going to jump on with my Tigris Prime. Actually, no, I'll jump on with the Heck just to kind of demonstrate how good the weapon can be. And then that is that. So next up, we have the Vacor Marlock. Now, I would recommend getting the regular Marlock. And if you can, maybe picking up the Vacor Marlock. Like, you'll be in the Steel Meridian Syndicate, so you'll have access or the ability to get the Vacor Marlock at in-game. And, I mean, this is a pretty good weapon. Now, you can do one of two things here. You can either mod this for corrosive damage, corrosive and fire damage like you did with your shotgun, or you can mod this for radiation and toxin damage to take out some units that have different armor types, right? So you can apply this exact same build, which I'm about to show you, to to your regular Marlock and still get away with it. I know I have a lot of prime mods on here, but if you use the regular versions, they will suffice as well. Obviously, it won't have the exact same DPS as me, and you could potentially mod this weapon more towards status if you really wanted to maybe get more DPS out of that if you're like a player that doesn't have Prime Pistol Gambit or Prime Target Cracker. But ideally, this is the build that I would go for as a newer player anyway, because one, it's easy to understand, and two, I mean, like, it's just a good build, so it's going to get things killed. So it's basically just a crit build, Prime Pistol Gambit, Prime Target Cracker for our crit, so we get, the crit chance from Pistol Gambit, and then the damage from Target Cracker. And then we have our free main damage mods, Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent. Hornet Strike for that initial damage, Barrel Diffusion for the multi-shot, and then Lethal Torrent for more multi-shot and a little bit of fire rate. Prime Heated Charge on here, because this is the start of our elemental combo. So we have Prime Heated Charge, then we have Convulsion, which will give us Radiation, which is good versus Bombards, and then we have Pathogen Rounds, which gives us our Toxin damage, which is pretty good. Now, you can mimic this build, and you can also swap the elements around, to do whatever you want. So you could change Pathogen Rounds, with the same place as Prime Heated Charge to make your Corrosive Fire combo if you wanted to, just strip armor away from enemies, which, I mean, that's totally up to you. And then last but not least, I personally like to use my my Hash Slinging Slasher because, I mean, or the Adawax. I call it the Adawax. But this is the Adawax, and this is the build that I'm running my Adawax, and this thing just, like, eats enemies up. You'll see what I mean. It's basically just, spin the win, really. You slide and you kill everything. I would recommend taking a screenshot of the build. If you don't have Maiming Strike, replace it with True Steel. And then if you don't have Weeping Wounds, replace it with Condition Overload or, just a status mod. You can maybe even throw elements on here if you don't have either Maiming Strike or Weeping Wounds. That would also be helpful, but you definitely need True Steel in here somewhere. Oregon Shatter is also good to have on here as well. Well, it's more or less like a necessity, really. So yeah, the Adawax is, it's an insane weapon, and you want to try to as closely mimic this build as possible. So I would change out Maiming Strike for True Steel, and then Weeping Wounds for Condition Overload if you happen to have it. But the thing is, like, taking Weeping Wounds out of this build kind of makes it a little bit meh, because a lot of the damage from the Adawax does actually come from the status procs, which is something that a lot of people don't actually realize, but it's whatever. So, you can do whatever you like. But yeah. Moving on, we have my Courier Prime. This is the build I'm running on it, but the most important mod in my opinion is Mediray, because if you're going into the plains with a loadout that I'm showing you, you're not going to be able to regen your health unless you change the melee weapon out for something with either Healing Return or Life Strike on it. So you could potentially swap the Adawax out for something like the Redeemer, but the thing is, like, the Redeemer isn't as effective in combat, so you might be kind of shooting yourself in the foot whenever it comes to, just clearing up enemies and stuff like that, and making this very easy for yourself. But other than that, this is the loadout that I'm going to jump into the plains with. We're going to do the highest level bounty, and I'm basically going to show you how I kind of play at the moment. I'm going to be making use of the new Xeneric skill tree. I want to talk about focus in a video on its own, and kind of dive in deep with the whole, like, focus farming stuff, because right now, if I'm being honest, guys, like, it's not really worth it to go out of your way to farm for other focus trees, because, like, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take you a year to get the entire focus skill tree capped out, which is kind of crazy, so the numbers are kind of mad, but I would recommend going into focus, choosing Xeneric, getting a Xeneric lens, putting it on all of your equipment, and then going for the Energy Pulse passive, or ability, which you can go ahead and throw on, and then you're going to get energy back. So you can see my energy just regenning, and then we have a 30-second regen as well, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, so basically what you're doing with Nova here is, I didn't actually show the Nova build. Okay, I should probably show the Nova build, but I'll show that after. What you're basically doing is you're going to be jumping around with Nova, and you're going to be using your portals to get about the place, right? So your portals are going to be your main source of travel, and then before you get into a fight in a bounty, cast your 1 to get your damage reduction, jump in, get your 4, and then basically just run in and one-shot everything. That is basically all that you're going to be doing here, and it just makes the bounties insanely easy. Of course, you can use the Heck, or you can use the Atarax, you can use basically whatever you want, but this is the thing that you have to keep in mind, right? Look how low my health gets. My health gets super low, super fast, so you have to be very careful whenever it comes to taking damage in the plains, especially in the higher level bounties, because it will get difficult. So you need to, like, Nova just seemed like the best frame for me, because she's got the damage reduction, she's got the mobility, and, you know, all of the above, right? So she's a great frame for it, because she can slow enemies down. It just makes these bounties, like, so much easier, especially the defense bounties. So here's the Atarax coming out, but yeah, so you can see how much damage we're dealing to these enemies, that type of thing. We'll swap to the Vacor Marlock now and see how much damage we do with this. So granted, these guys are like level 46 or whatever, but I mean, this is just how I personally play the bounties. Like, you'll see on stream that I'm kind of just dicking around and doing my own thing. I'm not necessarily playing with anyone in the bounties, and that's because I find whenever I'm playing with other people, the bounties tend to bug out a lot more. But that's not to say that bounties won't bug out whenever you are playing on your own. So if you guys aren't aware, basically whenever you start up a bounty, there's like a percentage chance that it won't like actually continue, and it won't like, you know, give you your next objective, right? Or even start in the first place. That's actually happened to me before as well. So, you know, shit happens and you can't really do anything about it. So this is why I just prefer the solo them, because then I can run in and out of Cetus whenever I really have to. And, you know, basically do what I need to get done, I guess you could say. So, you know, it just makes it a lot easier for me. Like, farming the standing is a pain in the ass. So you're going to want to find the most efficient way to do it. Not to mention, like, if you're an experienced Warframe player, you could even use your Arcwing, you know? Like, you can jump in Itzel, and you can use it to blink around the place. And even use it to, like, sweep up some resources as well with your third ability. So you can even use your weapons while in Arcwing. So if you feel like a badass and you want to kind of speedrun a little bit, all you have to do is bring out your Arcwing for the end of a bounty, and then you can just use either your Nova Wormhole, you know, just whenever you're not in your Arcwing, or you can use, what's it called, the Blink on the Itzel, kind of just get around the place, right? So it's up to you. Flying is a little bit trippy. It takes a little bit to get used to, so it's whatever though, man. Let's see if we can kill him. There we go. Easy peasy. Got this guy and this guy. Never mind. We're going up the way on my Arcwing, but okay, you guys, pretty sure you guys get what I mean. Don't know if I should continue showing you guys this entire bounty, but you know, you guys understand. It just makes it a lot easier using this type of loadout, and all you want to do is use your Nova Wormholes to kind of get around the plains a little bit, and then you should be good to go. So there's a lot of different like types of bounties, and in my opinion, Nova is probably like the most well-rounded frame for doing the bounties. I'm actually just going to check my time on my recording here. Yeah, we're 13 minutes in, so I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time, and I don't want to make this video like a super long render. So we're going to go back and we're going to show the Nova build and the Itzel build, and then that'll be it. So just use a loadout like this one. Again, like I said, it may seem a little bit counterproductive using a shotgun in an open world environment where like the enemies can be far away, but it is super effective because enemies just kind of blew up, right? So especially whenever you have them M primed. Of course, there's a lot of other frames that you could bring into the plains, and they would work totally fine. It just, in my opinion, I feel like Nova is the best and the most efficient, because like you can make so many different builds with Nova. It's kind of insane. Like you could swap out, if I show you my build, like this is a 4-forma build, you could swap out Vigor here for Fleeing Expertise, and that would make your Wormholes cost even less than they already do, right? So you could put on a 1 from the top Streamline, a 1 from the top Fleeing Expertise, and then obviously you'll have like almost like unlimited portals, because like they won't cost anything for you to cast, and you can just get around the plains so much. Alternatively, you could even throw on you know, the Augment, which I forget the exact name of. I don't know if I actually even have it, but there's a Wormhole Augment which basically will turn you into like a Nova plus Vault combo type thing, where every time you leave a portal, you get like a speed boost for a short period of time. So I actually still have shield disruption on from whenever that wasn't patched. You used to be able to use shield disruption to kill the Eidolon. So throwing corrosive projection on here will also make this a lot easier, because obviously the enemies will have less armor, and then you'll be dealing more damage in general. So yeah, so intensify Pyre Drift for your 145% Pyre Strength to make your slow and your M Prime really good. Constitution, narrow-minded Prime Continuity for the duration of all your abilities. This is also going to give you more damage reduction, which is kind of weird, but you know, duration for some reason affects the damage reduction and the balls on your 1, if that makes any sense, because believe it or not, you get 5% damage reduction from all the little orbs you have active. So there's that. Streamline on here for efficiency, Prime Flow for energy sustain, and then Vitality, obviously, for your health. And then that is pretty much that. Moving on to the Arcwing. If we go to thingy here, select mode, Arcwing. Your Arcwing weapons don't matter. It's more just the build that you want to be paying attention to. And this isn't a form of build at all. All you have to do is get these mods and then level them up. So we have Energy Inversion here, which gives you more shield capacity. We have Cold Snap. This is like a mod for me, which I thought was really cool because it allows you to kind of like crowd control enemies with your free. I don't exactly know how you get it. I think you just kind of randomly get it from playing Arcwing missions. I think it's a rare drop. So you could maybe Forma again and then swap that out for Hyperion Thrusters or something if you really wanted to, because that gives you more flight speed. And if you want to like speedrun things, that's totally fine too. So Forma the Itzel again, and then go ahead throw on Hyperion Thrusters. That's fine. We have obviously Enhanced Durability, which means more health. We have Energy Amplifier, which means more range, which is really good for your blink, because that's what you'll be using to get around the planes. I didn't actually show that off either. Then we have Superior Defenses, 100% shield recharge. I recommend maybe taking that there off and swapping that out, because I mean, if you're just going for like a speedrun build, you don't really need this, because you're not going to be getting shot that much anyway. Efficient Transferal Ability, Duration, I mean, you don't really need it, but it's there. System Reroute for the ability efficiency, you definitely need this. And then obviously we have the Auxiliary Power, which again, this is a must-have. You need this for obviously more energy, and then that will allow you to basically just jump around the planes like a madman in your Itzel. So let's just go ahead and jump in, and I'll show you guys like a demonstration of what I mean whenever it comes to using the Itzel to sort of get around, because it's kind of crazy. If you chain the Itzel with your Nova portals or whatever, or you kind of just use one or the other, it's totally done to you. So to use your Arcwing in the planes, I don't know where that landed. To use your Arcwing in the planes, you gotta go into your Tenno Lab in your clan's dojo, start the research for the Arcwing launcher, and then build it in your foundry. It takes fish oil and a bunch of other resources from the planes, and a few resources from the main game and stuff like that. But yeah, I was just after using Blink, and this is kind of how fast and far you can go with Itzel, and it's kind of cool. And also, don't forget that like if you're like all the way over here in the map and you're coming over with Itzel, go up the way whenever you're coming towards the door and press E, and then you send yourself flying like this, and then you can kind of just keep all that airtime, aim glide, and then you know, do a sweet landing by sliding and then go into the door. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something new. If you have any more questions about how to speedrun bounties, or just do bounties in general on the planes, make sure to let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to make a video on it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button below, and subscribe for more Warframe content. I'll see you guys in the next video.